Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Casey and welcome. I turn 30 in a couple of days and it has really made me reflect a lot, just kind of on the last 30 years, yeah, but more so I've been thinking a lot about my 20s, and I've seen this meme go around that says 30-year-olds, what advice would you give girls in their 20s? And it kind of has sparked a lot of thought for me. And so with my birthday coming up, I thought that it would be a fun video. So this video is 20 things I would tell my 20-year-old self. It is super windy and stormy here right now. So hopefully the power doesn't go off. The first thing I would tell my 20-year-old self is spend as much time as possible with your grandparents. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. I lost my grandmas this year, one in February, one in March, back to back. And I lost my grandpa, my most recent grandpa that passed about a year and a half ago, which seems insane. And so growing up, I always thought that I had 3 grandpas because my grandparents had gotten divorced and then my grandma had gotten remarried before I was born. So I just thought I had 3. And so I lost 2 of my grandpas when I was pretty young, when I was 16, and then my other grandpa passed when I was 20. And so more so when I think about it, I spent a lot of time with my 3 living grandparents over the last like 2.5, 3 years before they had passed. Especially after I had Rory, I would go see my grandparents as much as possible, and I just wish that I would have done that more when I was younger. But when you're younger, I mean, if you would have told me when I turned 30 that none of my grandparents would be earthside, I don't think I even would have believed it, because you know, we just always think that they're always going to be around. So huge piece of advice for me is go see your grandparents. Number 2 is family will always be your constant. You already know that you have the best parents in the world, but believe me, when you see them as grandparents, it is the most amazing thing in the world. Number 3, you will marry the man that you fell in love with the first time you saw him. When I met Zach, him and I were at such different places in our lives, and I actually met Zach when I was 20. So I met Zach 10 years ago. And I just remember I was so drawn to him, and I just loved being around him. And we didn't really actually date until, gosh, I think I was 23 when that happened. So that always just makes me laugh. We say all the time, if you would have told us when we first met that we would have ended up getting married, I wouldn't have believed you then either. Number 4, your baby girl will be well worth the wait, and stop letting infertility control your life. Infertility was probably the most difficult time of my life. I started trying to get pregnant with Rory when I was 26. And that didn't actually happen until I was 28. And that was rough. And for me, that was it was like a year and a half of trying. And I know that for other women, it's so much longer. But for me, that chunk of time was so difficult, and it was so hard, and it just consumed me. And so if I could go back and tell myself anything, it would just be to relax. It's going to happen, and stop letting this just consume your entire life. Number 5 is pour into the friendships that pour into you. So many friendships will come in and out of your life during this time, and it's honestly really easy to see, looking back, which friendships I thought were going to last and which ones were not. Granted, some were surprises that didn't end up being longer friendships, but it's so important to find the people who are your people. Looking back now, I remember being younger and thinking that fights were earth-shattering with friends. Like, we shouldn't fight, but as you get older, you realize that fights I guess I shouldn't say arguments, are actually beneficial and they can actually help your friendship. And if you are friends with somebody who is willing to have the conversations with you and have the difficult arguments with you and then still come out on the other side as friends and understanding of each other, those are the people that you need in your life, and they will be the best friends that you ever have. And thankfully you have a few amazing women in your life who fulfill that. Going along with that, number 6 is you will outgrow friendships, and that's okay. Not everybody is meant to go to every season of life with you, and it's okay. You know, sometimes I think that we come up with these reasons of why we keep staying in friendships that aren't working or aren't healthy for us. And the bottom line is, if you have a friendship and that friendship is no longer bringing you joy or making you happy, it's okay to step away from that, and it's okay to be okay with stepping away from that. Number 7, put the blush down. I look at pictures and that's not even for me. Like, somebody else could have been like, hey Casey, that's a lot of blush, you should probably like use 25% of that. Step away from the blush. Number 8, soak up as much as you possibly can. I learned from being a mom to stop saying soak up every minute, because it's just not possible in any part of life. So soak up as much as you can and just remember these moments, because a lot can change really quickly. Number 9 is actually kind of ironic because I made this list about a week ago, and it ties in right now, and that is loss and grief will happen, and let yourself feel it, let yourself be sad, but don't let the grief consume you. Grief is love, and I saw this the other day, and it was, grief is the price that we pay for love. That's what it was. And that's so true. You know, we get to be around these people and we love them and they're amazing and we have these great memories with them, and when they're gone, that's just hard, and it's because we love them so much that it is so hard when they are gone. Number 10, you will never regret being weird. Some of the best people you meet in life are just as weird as you are, and how fun is it to find people who are just as weird and you realize that being weird is actually a positive. Number 11, give yourself credit for every phase of life that you're in, and recognize the amount of work that you've done to get to right now. And I mean in any phase of life, at 20, 21, 22, 23, all of these different things. Your 20s are just this huge, huge times of change, and so much is happening and going on, and sometimes I think that we forget to give ourselves, I know that I forgot to give myself credit for each moment that I was in. Going along with that, number 12 is don't look so far ahead. Pay attention to right now. We get so wrapped up in making these plans, and you know, we feel like by 21 I should be here, by 25 I should be here, by 27 I should definitely be doing yada yada yada. That's just not how it is. You know, take time to appreciate where you're at right now, because you're not going to be at this place anymore. Stay focused here, and then, you know, let next year worry about next year when you get there. It's so easy to try and look that far ahead, but that's not where we're at. We're right here, so stay right now and be happy with right now. Number 13, stop holding yourself to unrealistic expectations and then getting upset with yourself when you don't meet those expectations. Having goals is amazing and that's so important, but if you are setting these standards for yourself that just aren't achievable in the first place and then getting mad at yourself for not living up to those, that's just not what you want to do. That's such a waste of time. You have to be appreciative of what you're doing, and again, it goes along with what I was saying earlier, give yourself credit for what's happening right now, you know. And I went to go get coffee the other morning, and when I got to the front, the girl was like, wow, I love your Jeep. Red Ranger is my dream. And my Jeep, it says Red Ranger 2 on it. And she goes, I just drive a Grand Cherokee that's out front now. And I said, oh, I used to drive a Grand Cherokee 2. That was Red Ranger 1. Red Ranger 2 was my dream also. And so it's, you know, it seems so small, but it was like, man, that's cool. Because I remember dreaming about the Jeep that I have now. Like, that is my dream car. That was always my goal, to get to that Jeep. And so it was really cool to be like, yeah. And then she goes, oh, that gives me hope. And so it was just the coolest interaction, because it was like, you know, I have come this far. I have gotten a lot of the things that I've wanted to get, and I need to get better at recognizing those things. Number 14, step away from the tanning bed. It's another thing that was done in excess. And why? You look so ridiculous in some of the pictures. And it's funny because I remember when I was tanning thinking I wasn't that tan, but I was. Number 15, always keep your compassion and your love for others. This will feel like it gets you in trouble sometimes, and like it's not always reciprocated, but you will never regret being a kind person, and you will never ever regret loving people. It's just something that you can look back on and go, I'm glad that I did that. And later in life, people will continually, this still happens, people always come back and go, oh my gosh, you've always been so kind to me, you've always been so nice, you've always been such a compassionate person. And those are things that, like, what a cool thing to have somebody say to you. That's amazing. And so hold on to that. Don't let that go. Number 16. People always talk about finding their tribe and their people, and I remember in my younger 20s thinking that I wasn't going to find that and I wasn't going to have that, and I didn't know what that really meant. But at this point in your life, you have the best tribe in the world, so don't fret. Number 17, stop smoking cigarettes. It's so gross. Why did you do that? And then now in life, you have to be like, oh yeah, I was a smoker. And people look at you like, what? Because it's shocking. And your teeth are way too nice for that. Stop doing that. Stop. Ugh. Gross. Number 18, stop hiding your tattoos from your mom. Just show her. If you're going to have a full sleeve and so many tattoos later, she gets used to it. Just show her. Stop hiding them. Number 19, keep and strengthen your faith for as long as you live. You will never, ever, ever, ever regret having a good relationship with God, and the comfort that comes from having a relationship with God it can't be compared to anything else in the world. During bad times, having God as that comfort is amazing, and during great times and having God to say, wow, thank you so much for bringing this amazing whatever into my life, it's just the best, and it gets better with every passing day. And the stronger your faith gets, the more fun it is. Last one, number 20. Unanswered prayers are really answered prayers. Sometimes I know that I would pray so hard for these things to happen, and I would think that there was nothing in the world that I wanted more than that. And then now that I'm on the other side, I can see that those unanswered prayers were really God saying, this isn't what I have for you. I have something so much better for you. And he was right. He was absolutely right. He had this incredible life on the other side of all of these things for me. And I am so thankful for so many prayers that I thought were unanswered, but really they were answered. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it kind of makes you reflect on your life and where you've come and what you would tell your younger self. It's been interesting to think back, and I started looking through a bunch of old pictures, and it was a fun trip down memory lane. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks.